Jacques and I are back again to review your gardens, except for this time, we're going international.
We asked you guys to send in your gardens, and you sent in so many we couldn't include them in the last video, so we kept it to the US, but this time we are doing the international angle. We have a lot of different gardens to look at.
And at the end, both Jacques and I will pick our absolute favorite with the epic stamp of approval, but for now, let's go to Frankfurt, Germany. Kicking off with our friend Eugene, a beautiful sunset on a rooftop balcony, beer on the table, beautiful use of space. I kind of want to take a sip of that right now. All these different containers. It's already taken the cake of one of my favorite balcony gardens I've seen.
That's pretty early, but I will say though, I do really appreciate the use of flowers on the front of the balcony. Nice pollinator attractors, good use of bamboo to build trellises, great garden. But now, I think we need to fly over to Melbourne. I don't know how to say it really. Here's Glenn's garden. It has a wonderful use of different containers. I see a nice repurposed tote there. Nice mix of plants and some straw bales, which I've never messed with before, so I don't know.
I have. It didn't go that well for me. Glenn, I think I need some tips from you. I'm noticing though, the kale in the background. Obviously in Melbourne, you are at a different point in the growing season, the exact opposite of us. So I'm not growing that right now. It's really cool to see. Clearly been harvesting off of it quite a bit. Impressive container garden here, making use of a lot of repurposed materials. But now we need to come back across the pond to Ontario. Elizabeth's garden looks like a fairy garden brought to life, brought to human scale with these beautifully done, homemade DIY sort of wooden arches and trellises. I know this is up your alley, John.
This is entirely up my alley. I wish I had a forest to go to and collect these logs to make my little borders on my raised beds or build my little planter boxes. Love the use of all this different space. But now let's take a quick little jaunt over to Quebec. Here's Romaine's garden. Looks really wonderfully organized, which, you know, I'm getting used to a little bit. And I love the sunflowers up front. Lots of nasturtiums, which you know I love, so great little spot.
Yeah, I think you've got Jacques' heart. You have mine as well, Romaine, because the tomato trellises with what looks like sort of like standard lumber stick, probably relatively inexpensive. It's much like we've trellised our tomatoes in the garden this year to great results. I have to say, you might be getting used to the organization. I love an organized garden. So to me, this is a gorgeous backyard garden. But now we need to go to Kent in the UK. We have the mysterious RGB. Maybe that is red, green, blue. I don't know, but I do love the garden, and I have to say it is quite aesthetic. The thing that's standing out to me, I love a stand of corn, so that's very beautiful in the foreground there, but the half logs split as the siding of the raised bed is a really nice touch, and one that I might have to mimic here at the homestead sometime.
I agree, lovely touch, and I also love the use of the DIY hoops. I see some bent with poles, and also even just having sticks underground to keep the fabric up, which absolutely works fantastic. A lot of squash about to climb those poles. I think it's gonna be a very full garden, which is great because we're gonna need a little snack if we're going back to Canada. I have no idea what I'm gonna say.
Welcome to my world. Yeah, that's how I operate.
Hey, that's how I live. Adeline's garden is cranking with both peas and beans. I love growing pole beans, something I don't do enough. And I love the stand of onions. Out in the back there, looks great.
Adeline has more than just that shot. She has this beautiful corner wraparound in a suburban home. Just shows you can make these little different pockets of the garden. These containers next to the house. Looks like maybe some more beans there.
Peppers?
Can't quite tell. Maybe it's some peppers. Maybe they're being overwintered. A really great way to preserve them for the next season. And I might need to preserve myself because I'm going on a long haul flight to Kosovo.
That transition should work.
Edon's garden is a very organized and tidy backyard spot. I love, honestly, that there's a little lawn blending into the gravel. It's a nice sort of transitionary area. I also like this hoop house, which looks uncovered right now. Not sure exactly what it's growing, but it does look like it has the ability to irrigate from that one line, which is a very clever build out.
And right behind that, I'm eyeing something I really like, which is a mega trellis. It looks like it's probably at least 10 feet long with huge spans across it. And if they're anything like Bulgaria, I'm sure that they're growing some tomatoes, which I definitely will pack in my bag as I fly over to Norway. Here's Gauta's garden, and I actually have no idea what you could grow in Norway. So what I'm guessing over here is that it might be tomatillos on the right. That'd be so unique if true, because I don't even know if tomatillos are a regular thing that occur in Norway.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool about this one too is like, it's clear that this was a DIY, right? You cut the sod away, you throw some chips down, much like I did at my house, some in-ground, some raised, something covered, not sure what's under there, you tell us, but also a really cool tree in the background. And then he's got this beautiful fire pit, which to be honest, I'd like to gather around my friends and tell them all about my trip to Slovakia, Bratislava. Daniel, we told you to send in a garden, not a farm. Look at this thing. This is absolutely crazy. Beautiful straight rows, looks like a lot of stuff growing, packed in densely, no prisoners on the space. You've got a pathway coming down and that's it. Everything else is growing space, which I know you love.
I absolutely love it. Full use of all the space, like maximum density here. Nice row of sunflowers, a lot of flowers all throughout. And up front here, I see a whole lot of potatoes, which grow down under, which is where we're going next to Brisbane. Here's Glenn's garden. It's really beautiful and sunny, and I love this kind of wooden stair step with raised beds attached to it. Plants growing on both sides, nasturtiums, fruit trees. It's a little stairway of heaven in the garden, and I'm all about that.
I'd walk that stairway all day, but before I did, I'd take a little hiatus over in this raised bed area. What I like is a nice chunky, some would say thick, piece of wood. I mean, that thing is gonna stand the absolute test of time. And then you have this trellis on the raised bed over here, which is exceptionally well built. Teach me your skills, Glenn. But also you could have this incredible gourd tunnel, cucumber tunnel, zucchini tunnel. This almost looks like a crown, which our next location, Ontario, I think used to be under, or maybe still is. Laura's garden, I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it, to be honest with you. It almost looks like this pattern that I use to score my sourdough bread. I do these diagonal diamond patterns, breaks that structure a little bit, gives it a really unique look.
Yeah, absolutely unique, very geometric also. I love the hedges around the side, the trees up front, and the fence looks really interesting. It's got these wide panels with looks like hardware cloth that could be used as a trellis, and it's perfect for growing all sorts of beans and stuff that they love over in the UK. Here's Neri's garden, and it looks wonderful with a lot of different flowers mixed in. I see a big old rose up front, a couple roses in the back. Love how it's all blended together in the garden with those flowers.
Yeah, to me, this is something that I've always wanted to develop as a skill set as a grower. It was just sort of this cottage garden vibe. Lots of containers, lots of plants sort of crammed together, cozy, inviting, this beautiful archway, a forest in the background, which we're about to get lost in as we head to Finland. Maddie's garden here in Finland looks so aesthetic. It is very prim and proper. The colors are coordinated. I see some edibles in the front with the peppers. I'm not quite sure what that vining plant is in the back there, Jacques. Maybe a loofah, maybe a cucamelon, but regardless, I'm a fan.
I love the fact that they use all this shelving to capture more light, give them more vertical space to still grow in containers. And I love the fact that they left the table there so they could still chill, eat breakfast in the garden. And I know it's getting cold there, so let's heat up by going over to Bermuda. Pauline's garden clearly must be dealing with a lot of rain because I see that all their pots are elevated on a table. Even the raised beds are actually elevated off the ground, which is a great way to shed rain if you get a lot of it and stop your plants from drowning.
Yeah, I noticed that perhaps there's some sort of pest issue as well because there's a wrapped kind of container up in the foreground there in the front of the house. And then it looks like some vegetables being grown in that elevated planter. I think the theme of this one for me is elevated planter, whether it's for rain or rain and maybe accessibility. It is one of my favorite ways to access the garden as we grow in those 30-inch tall Birdie's raised beds. We're on an island here and we're going to another one, albeit quite a bit bigger, back to Brisbane. Sarah's garden back in Brisbane, Australia. It looks like the Australians are big fans of these chunky, big wooden beds, which I have to say, it looks nice, but even nicer is the addition of all of this white alyssum, a plant that both you and I grow a lot in the garden, confers a lot of benefits. This is just a jam-packed bed, shows you that you can cram things in closer than you think. Absolutely,
and they even have squash in there, which can get quite big, but I think they might be growing it up that stake to grow that vertical squash plant, which is a great way to save space. And I see in the back they have some organza bags on some fruit, probably to protect it from pecking birds. But now we need to go back to my motherland and maybe my true calling of home, which is Bulgaria. Ani over here has a perfect understanding of what it means to be a Bulgarian, which is gardening. I think it just runs in the blood of everyone over there. It's all about planting densely, getting the most food you can through that nice summertime. I love the background. It reminds me of all the beautiful homes in Bulgaria up in the mountains there. Absolutely stunning shot. I'm in love.
I might not be full Bulgarian like Jacques here, but I do respect a well set up garden. I love the rows, but I also am very curious, Ani, what is in the greenhouse? It looks like it's actually pretty big. And so perhaps tomatoes. I know Bulgarians are huge tomato fans, but I just got a call. It turns out I left my luggage back in Ontario. Danielle's garden here in Ontario. This is a picnic table I would like to enjoy a freshly prepared meal at with everything surrounding that table, especially what's in the foreground here. This is an elevated bed, jam-packed with greens, some of the same themes we're seeing in a lot of these gardens from around the world. I know, Jacques, there's something you probably are eyeing in the back.
Absolutely love that huge flowering bush back there, the arch covered in more flowering vines. There's even some fruit trees, and in the back there, I think I see a pull-up bar, which is perfect because we're pulling up to their neighbors right over in Ontario. Sarah has a lot of vertical action going on here. I see some obelisks in that big bed, cattle panel trellises, and our favorite vertical growing towers, the green stalks, which are full of all sorts of tasty looking plants.
Yeah, the thing that's really standing out to me is actually what you can't see. It would be what is underneath that bed in the foreground. My suspicion, it gets cold in Ontario. That might just be a simple DIY cover. Looks quite good actually, to put a bed away for winter, so to speak, or to sort of protect it from the cold. Could be wrong, but that's sort of my intuition. Now you might be wondering why I've been wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and that's because we're going to an island, Vancouver Island. Diane's garden is so cool. It is by far one of the most colorful ones we've seen yet. A lot of the species I actually can't identify. I'm more of an edible gardener, not an ornamental gardener, but I'll tell you this right now, Jacques, and tell me if you're feeling this. I want to walk down that path. It looks very magical. I have a feeling if I did, some sort of garden fairy would come out, cast a spell on me, and I would like turn into a toad, and I'm here for it.
Hey, it's a lovely story. I'm here for it. I want to see it happen for you too. But what I really love is all this texture from the bottom going all the way up to those trees over there. Different blend of colors. The only plant I could maybe identify is that I think that's a hosta up front. But a little birdie told me that we have to make a trip back to Brisbane next. And Tony's birdie here is in the form of Birdie's Beds, which you know is our favorite raised bed. Wonderful way to grow plenty of all sorts of crops. They have a nice mix of tomatoes, some nasturtiums. I love everything about it.
This shows you that you can grow a garden on stone. So it's sort of river rock or pebble or decomposed granite. He can do it. He's got some beds filled with soil, of course. He's got some grow bags, it looks like, in the foreground, maybe some containers. It's a nice, what looks to be a side yard garden, giving me a lot of hope. In fact, good hope, because we're going down to the Cape in Cape Town, South Africa. Robert's garden in Cape Town, South Africa is gorgeous. I mean, you can't argue with the view. I don't know how that land came into your possession because it looks like some pricey real estate. But this, to me, Jacques, is a place that I feel like I could just peace out for the weekend. Absolutely. Like let the stresses of the world go away, no electronics, just work on the land, come home tired, hit the bed, and just feel like I had a day well spent.
Absolutely, and I love the fence here. I had my first fence built like that with random sticks and hardwood cloth. And of course, my favorite thing in the world, mulch. It looks like a ton of straw mulch. I absolutely love it. And especially when you're in a warmer climate like this, you need all that mulch to retain the water, but some places get a lot more rain. And that's why we're going to Scotland to see what they do over there. Here's Scott's garden. I love the whole setup. There's a lot of room for vibing with the fire pit, the shade sail, all the seats. Looks like a great place to just hang out.
To me, this is a good example, Jacques, of where the garden fits your lifestyle instead of people like us who let the garden dictate our lifestyle. Where, you know, you've got 4 beds here, some containers, some other plantings. Looks like a really cool sort of elevated planter garden in the back there, but the environment for enjoying is still very present. It's easy to walk in. You've got that fire pit, like you mentioned, the shade sail. Looks like a bit of a sort of custom-y greenhouse, which I think looks really, really neat. Really nice. I like this so much, I wouldn't even care if Scott was mean to me. If he abused me, you might say I've got the syndrome, the Stockholm syndrome. Tilda in Stockholm, Sweden, she's given the feet away for free in the foreground. I'd be careful about that. I think you could fetch a pretty penny for those, but a beautiful apartment garden. The organization is really cool. I don't know what it is about this mat, Jacques. The mat is very pleasing to me. Maybe it's the angle. She's got the lighting wrapped around the railing. It looks super cool.
I see something I really love, which is a whole lot of tomatoes. You know I'm all about the tomatoes. A lot of them over here on the background, but they also still made room for some fruiting plants with those strawberries, which are probably really delicious when you grow them on your balcony in Sweden. But now we need to move somewhere with wide open views, and that's Saskatchewan. Danielle here has done something that I've always wanted to try but haven't gotten around to, which is making all these self-watering containers, it looks like. I see the pipes in these front bins, and even these huge IBC totes cut in half have also seemingly been made into the self-watering container. Yeah,
the thing that I like is the IBCs, while not necessarily cheap, are certainly a doable option if the alternative is a more expensive build out. Sometimes you can get lucky and even get these for free just to make sure you clean them out because they hold all sorts of different things. But what I like is that there's also some row garden in the background. And so it's a mixture. It looks like maybe some of the stuff that's more easily harvestable, that wants to be accessed quicker, is up in the foreground with easier ways to manage it. And then the stuff in the background might be your garlic, your onions, things that don't require as much effort. It is time to pick our favorites. They're all good, but I do have 2 favorites, Jacques. I have two. Much like last time, I'm cheating. My first is Daniel from Slovakia, Bratislava. To me, the scale of the garden, the order, the intentionality of it, it has such an inviting look. It feels like a garden that you could go into, kind of meander around with some sort of morning drink, pick a lot of stuff out, slowly prepare a meal through the end of the day, invite your friends and family over, and just enjoy yourself. It is such a cool garden. And my second pick is Glenn. I have to throw some love to Australia. We love products from Australia. We love gardeners from Australia. Glenn's garden and the Stairway to Heaven, I'd like to ascend because it looks so inviting. The layers and the texture is something I've been exploring in my garden, adding more of that. Glenn has that already in his garden, so it's super stellar. What about you, Jacques?
For me, it's going to be the first one, which is Eugene in Frankfurt. Such a nice balcony, of course, the sunset vibe. Love the fact that they included flowers and also a bunch of different trellises within their grow bags. And of course, I'm going to cheat, and my favorite is Ani from Bulgaria, because how could you not choose the Bulgarian gardener? They are a person after my heart, very densely planted. I love the background with all the houses. Just all wonderful gardens across everything we saw pretty much though.
Yeah, they were stellar, and I will make a call out right now. If you are a Filipino gardener growing in the Philippines, send your garden in. We'll provide a link. I would love to react and be as biased as you were, Jacques. But thank you so much, guys, for showing so much inspiration from these gardens. We'll put a video up here for our USA reaction series. Stay tuned, good luck in the garden, and keep on growing.